Right, Jordan. Our pals at Beer 52 are still giving I Had Trials Once listeners the chance to get a free case of beer delivered to their door.
Superb.
Yeah. Well, it's usually worth 24 quid, but you only have to pay for $5.95 for delivery.
Yeah, mine come last week. It was after the live podcast, but it was good, really nice.
Was it? So, what's the link? How did you do it?
The link is beer52.com/trials, and that gets sent to your door, and you get a snack.
Right, before we get started, everyone has a bit of time on their hands, but there's plenty of daily articles, interviews, etc. on The Athletic, which are well worth having a look at. I've actually had a little look myself these last few days. There's some good stuff. Obviously, we have everyone being on lockdown. But remember, we have a special offer for the pod. What is it, Jordan?
It is a 7-day free trial plus half price, 50% off your year subscription on theathletic.co.uk/I Had Trials Once.
Lovely stuff. Right,
decent.
Let's get stuck in today's episode.
He's gone to Burnley now. All right, Gareth?
Yes, Gareth.
It's connecting to audio.
Got you.
All right, Gareth?
Guys, you okay?
Yes, Gareth.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, very good, thanks. You all right?
Great name.
Top man, guys. You all right?
Only the best looking ones have a name, Gareth.
Such a shit name.
Oh, sorry,
Top
Jordan.
man.
What's going on? What's the cracks?
Yeah, nothing, mate. Still waiting for any information from the EFL. You know, it's crazy at the moment. It really is. You know, so yeah, just got to play it by ear. You know, it's difficult because there's nothing to aim for. You know, the boys have got nothing to aim for. There's no end game, as it were, on training or anything. So it's a real tough one, mate. Yeah, but no, we just wait and see. Got to be professional and make sure everything's right before we go back.
Yeah, 100%. It's so weird, isn't it?
Yeah, really.
There's just nothing
really.
you can. There's no answers. There's no questions, no answers. There's a lot of questions, just no answers.
Yeah, it's tough, mate. Really tough, you know. So they're talking about this 8-team shootout now at the top of the EFL 1 and 2, which we'd be in. But
yeah, you're 8th now, aren't you? I was going to say, how would you feel about that?
Yeah, we got 2 games in hand. So I think if they finish the season now on points per game, we'd be 3rd. So that's a great finish for Wycombe Wanderers. You know, that's unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's the highest position they've ever finished in their history. You know, so whether that'd be enough for promotion, you know, whether they'd call it a day and say the playoffs aren't going to happen, but Wycombe were top of the playoff group, they go up. Who knows? But this I think they're desperate to get some sort of football back somehow. You know, the Premier League I think is going to happen because there's £1 billion of sponsorship resting on this, and I think there's going to be all sorts of ramifications if that doesn't happen. But 1 and 2, they could probably get away with not finishing, but that's the big question.
Gareth, I've heard that like same as what you've heard, probably the Premier League and probably the Championship will do everything they can to extend it. Because if you think about, I think it's £100 million game, isn't it, for the people who go up from the Championship? Yeah, so it's like people don't realise how much money's involved, and then obviously the Premiership, you've got obviously there's a lot of money, a lot of sponsorship, but then you've got all your rulings on which sides qualify for Europe, the Champions League,
all that.
So,
all that, guys. Yeah. It's going to be mental.
Yeah, whereas like obviously your League 1 and your League 2, it's just as important to them teams where they finish and promotion, but realistically there's not so much the financial kind of problems that come with it. So what would you be happiest with? Would you be happy with the playoff? If you
could you play behind closed doors though?
Playing behind closed doors, right, would really affect our finances massively. You know, it really would. I know they're talking about this iFollow and people tuning into that and watching the games on that. It's not the same. You don't get the kiosk spend. You don't get the merchandise spend. You don't get the away fans coming in and spending. They historically spend a lot more. So we'd sold out against Oxford. We had Rotherham left at home, which was a top of the league clash. We had AFC Wimbledon, a local big clash, and our last game was Gillingham, which again you'd expect would be big because something would have been on it. So there's maybe £500,000 there in just gate money and turnover of games that we're going to miss out on. Now for Wycombe Wanderers, a £3.5 million turnover business, that's a massive chunk, you know what I mean, in 4 games. That's a huge chunk. So behind closed doors, financially, it would be hard. If it's the only way to do it and they make the decision to do it, then we'll do it. You know, we're not going to be on our high horse saying, no, we're not doing this. We'll do it. But I think it's going to be stretching loads and loads of EFL 1 and 2 clubs, loads of them, you know. So obviously, if they said top 3 go up, I'm not stupid. I'd go, oh, points per game, that's great for us. But again, is that the way to do it? I don't know. Is it this 8-team shootout? Who's going to decide who's in that? There's teams like Sunderland who may drop out of the playoffs if it's points per game or 8-game shootout. I think the EFL are worried about people coming back and saying, hey, this isn't fair. They're not going to be able to make it fair for everyone. And that's the big decision that they've got to make. The only fair way is finishing everything as it should be. But can they possibly do that?
Someone's going to be upset, aren't they?
So and they seem to want to start next season on time as well, because the Euros have been moved and because the World Cup's a year later and all these Christmas break and all, they seem to want to get next season started on time. So again, the more weeks this goes on, the less time we're going to have to cram all these games in. And again, Saturday, Tuesday is going to kill teams. It'll kill my squad without a doubt. You know, I've got Akin Fenway, Darius, Charles, Bloomfield, all over 35. They can't play Saturday, Tuesday. And we only had 2 Tuesday games left. So to have 5 Tuesday games, that would seriously weaken my squad again. But then everyone will have their argument. So I'm not saying ours is right. I'm just putting our case forward and saying that's what would happen to Wycombe. But again, I'll go right back to it and go, we've got to be safe first, because what if a player in a squad develops the virus? What's the contingency then? Does everyone go 14 days quarantine? Does who we've played? Does that team go in quarantine? You know, it's
you got to get the kids out then.
Yeah, we haven't even got an academy at Wycombe, so that's the game. That's another. I think there's only 3 teams in the country without an academy. Us, Brentford, and Crawley. So you know, I wouldn't be able to even field the kids out. So there's a lot of stuff involved. But I totally empathise and sympathise with the decision makers. I don't know how they're going to do it, and there's going to be somebody's going to be upset. Somebody is definitely going to be upset, and some people are going to be happy.
As a player who hates training, I would rather cram this season in, or cram next season into Saturday, Tuesday myself. But obviously, other people don't want to do that.
Nah, because I was like you, right? When I played, I loved games. I lived for games. Saturday, Tuesday. Give me all week, because I was fit and I could do it. But I played right up to I was 41. So after the age of 36, 37, I couldn't do Saturday, Tuesday. So I was selfish going, I don't want Saturday, Tuesday. I'd rather recover and do Saturday. And so when you talk about the names of Akin Fenway, and Charles and Matt Bloomfield, Joe Jacobson, massive players for Wycombe Wanderers. They're now in that stage where, like, you're young, mate. You're still young, you know. So Jordan, you're in your 20s, Jordan. So you're fine. You know, you can do Saturday, Tuesday till the cows come on. But believe me, it gets tougher. Yeah.
Have you kept in contact with them lads?
Yes. Yeah.
Are they all on a training plan?
No, so what's happened, Gaz, is so it's tough again. It's really tough for me. So the club has furloughed the players, and they furloughed most of the staff except myself, obviously, and the manager. So I need to still make decisions and work on things going forward, planning. I've been in at the ground once a week, looking at the new pitch being relayed. But talking to the players in the first couple of weeks, they were doing training plans. But then the longer this went on, we thought to ourselves, this is like a summer break, right? So, you know, you both know the summer break. You both know what that means. You tick over. You still tick over. You still keep yourself fit, because you know that when you get back, it's going to be pre-season. Everyone's blasting, and you don't want to be behind. What you've got in the summer usually is you've got access to gyms, You can go in a gym, you can do your deadlifts, your RDLs, all your injury prevention stuff, and you do that 2 or 3 times a week. At the moment, my lads can't do anything. They're going to the local parks, doing a run, and both of you know that is good, but it's, you know, modern day football, you need to do more than that. You definitely need to do more than that. You know?
A game, does
you
it?
Can't just go for a run, you know. So they're way behind now for what they would be. So I'm actually saying now, right, mentally switch off. I want them hungry when they get back, right? When they get back, I want them to go, I've missed football so much. I've switched off, I've relaxed, I've missed it so much, I'm ready. Rather than keeping them going now with nothing really in sight and then getting them back going, right, you've got 4 weeks now to keep going. They were going, well, we've just been keeping going for, I want them to really ease it down, tick over, but mentally really switch off and get that hunger back. What I've started doing, I spoke to a couple of managers last week, a couple of championship managers who are close to, and one of them said what he started doing, he started putting clips on there. They've all got this WhatsApp group, you know, they're all the players. So they're putting these clips on now of every player gets a day of his best moments of the season so far. So it just sort of keeps them, you know, motivated. They don't have to go out running, they don't have to do any training at the moment, but they're connecting with football and all, and it's sparked a little bit of chat on the group. I'm not in the group. I want them to banter each other or talk to each other without my interruption. So that's working quite well. I think we're on day 4 now. They've all had clips uploaded and they're all waiting for their day, and it's great. So I'm just little tricks that I'm trying to use on the mental side, because it's really important, you know, to keep them mentally in the right place.
I think that's the biggest thing with especially footballers and athletes. Once you lose that focus of a game, whether it's the Saturday or the Tuesday, everything else just becomes just like boring. Like they don't have the same drive, do they? So like I understand what you're saying about like keeping them mentally at like a low level, because if they're pent up and they're training hard, and then you come back and you say, right, guys, we've got to do 3 weeks now of a pre-season, and some lads have been hammering it every day.
Exactly,
not just the minds, but you know, sometimes the bodies are going to fail as well. Yeah,
absolutely spot on. So an injury risk and an overload risk as well. So I'm really with you on that one. And you both know, right? You've played, so you know that when you stop playing one season, your manager says, right, we're in July the 1st, July the 2nd, whatever it is. That's a focus. Even though you're in May, that's your focus. You're going, right, I'll build up to that. At the moment, there's no focus. You know what I mean? There's nothing. We don't know anything.
Use like other things to get to focus on. Like maybe if we can get on holiday in 6 weeks, maybe in 2 months. I'm just thinking maybe try and look better on the beach instead of thinking about footy. Try and so it's still fitness wise, but it's a different sort of thinking.
Well,
I'm trying to do stuff like that because I can't run. I can't run.
You can't run, Joe? No.
So it's one of our lads did a marathon the other day, and I'm struggling to do 4K. So
somebody's doing 20.
It's not because I can't do it. It's in my head. I don't. I get to like 4 or 5K, and I'm thinking, right, I've got I don't need to be doing this.
I used to hate running.
You're weak-minded, Jordan. That's what it is. You're weak-minded.
But as soon as I'm on a pitch, I'm not.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I used to hate running. I used to, when I trained, and one of my big things was being super fit. I was quick and I was so fit. I based my whole game on being fitter than everyone else. But honestly, I hated running. I really did. I hated pre-seasons, the long runs and that. And back when I started, there were proper cross-country runs and that. You know, it wasn't any of this sports science now. But I'm a bit like you, Joe. Where I like the results of the gym, and I feel strong. You know what I mean? I feel strong, and when I'm on the pitch, I feel right. I'm strong, and obviously going in the gym increases your pace and your explosivity, you know, and things like that. So, but unfortunately, you have to do the runs, as Gaz says. So, force your mind to get going on them a little bit as well.
I'm trying.
Go on, George.
Is it me? As you mentioned, like Akinfenwa and that.
Yeah.
What sort of stuff do you do to deal with him and his big character and all the other players that you've got in your team? Is there any standout characters that you have to do something different for? Or...
Yeah, there is, Jordan. You know, I did this is interesting, because I did a QPR interview recently, and they made.
Is this the quiz?
No, that wasn't the quiz. The quiz will come.
Yeah, I've seen that one. Yeah,
I was half expecting you to come on with a mask with a face paint and everything.
I was there, but going back to your question, I did an interview for QPR about 2 weeks ago now, and they talked to me about 2003 and 4, the season we got promoted at QPR, and I remember going in, and there was some big characters. There was I classed myself as a big character in the game when I was there. I was always loud. I was always energising everyone. Kevin Gallen, Mark Bircham, and Martin Rowlands. There was 4 of us, and it only dawned to me recently that Ian Holloway did something really good, because we took over that dressing room. We really, you know how it is. You have your jokers. That there was 4 of us, and we really energised everyone. And sometimes it went a little bit too far, but it always got reined back in, you know. But Ian Holloway, I think, a masterstroke by him, and maybe I've took it on, because you always learn from your previous bit and your experiences. He let us do it. He consciously let us get away with a little bit more, because he knew it would be good for the group, and we were characters. And I think now I realise that Akin Fenwa comes with it's not an entourage. He doesn't have people with him. He has, that's the word. He has this persona, this aura of energy around. When he walks in a room, you know he's walked in a room, and it's great to have. You know, he's a fantastic, charismatic guy. He has Mondays off, right? Sometimes he don't come in on a Tuesday, because he's just honestly, there's no point in being out on the pitch doing 7,000 meter sessions with the rest of the boys, high intensity work. He'd rather be in the gym working on what he's good at, his little explosive sprints, and he's massive. His strength is unbelievable. So I don't have to manage him so much, but I have to manage the rest of the group to say, look, he delivers and he's different. And when you're 37 and you're still delivering like that, you'll get away with this as well, you know. So it is. But Bale would never want all these special measures if he wasn't delivering. If he started not delivering, he'd come in more rather than less. You'd think that if he wasn't delivering, if he wasn't scoring, he'd be less in. He'd be in more then. I think he knows the balance. Also, when I signed him, Jordan, I told him that he could make more money out of his personal appearances and his internet stuff and all this sponsorship deal. I think he's a legend card on FIFA and all this. He gets so much, you know, fame and money from this. He could make more than he could at Wycombe. So again, it's a balancing act for me to ever go too far on him, where he'll go, I've had enough. I'm off. You know, I've got what I want. I don't think he will, but also I've always got to be mindful that, you know, when we signed him, we said, yeah, we understand what comes with you. He's a celebrity now. You know, he's got deals here, there, and everywhere, which is great, and it's great for the club. So it's managing the whole package, which has been news for me as well. A big character like that, because usually it's
different, isn't it?
It's just 25 lads, and they're all the same. I have got different ones. Darius Charles can't train on a Monday; his hips. He only trains Thursday, Friday, so we have to then, you know, be careful of what we do Tuesday, Monday with not too much tactics, because we might not have the full team out. So Thursday, Friday, more tactics, hammer that tactics wise. But no, it's interesting that you talk about the characters, and looking back, I think people let our energy grow. So I let my boys' energy grow, and I know, and a skill of the manager is then finding out, is it the right thing? Is it gone too far? Do I need to rein that hand? And believe me, we have plenty of little sessions. We have little one-on-ones, me and Bale, and you know, we're close friends as well as manager and player as well.
Gaz, I bet a lot of people who listen into this, they'll be shocked that you actually have to manage individuals in your team differently. I bet a lot of people just think that your 20 lads or your 22 will turn up, they all do the same warm-up, all do the same session, all eat together, finish together, and that's it. But you've just kind of said it there, like, obviously you've learnt off Holloway and obviously the other managers that you've had. But that is a big part of being a manager. It's not coaching your players on the team and against your opponents. It's actually managing your individuals to fit into a team then.
Said, I used to go mad when we was at Salford, when you was off modelling. every week, and then you was playing on a Saturday, and I was on the bench. I'd be like, hang on, but they used to say to me, listen, he's doing the business. It don't matter what he does. You've got to let
Jordan, you know my nickname's the Postman because I always deliver. That's the thing.
No, you're right, guys. You know, I think that when you're on a football pitch, as you both well know, your personality comes out just as much as your tactics and your football ability. And I think you've got to take that into account. I'm one of my big strengths, I believe, as a manager is relationships. Okay, if you ask me what my biggest strength is, I'd say relationships. I'd say, and I'm humble enough and to say, look, tactically, I'm not as good as some of the other managers, no chance. But I tell you what, put me in a room with 20 guys, I'll work out the personalities quicker than most people, and I'll get them working as a group really well, motivated, ready to run through a brick wall for whatever I ask them to do. So it's like being the best tactician in the world. If you can't get people to do your tactics, what's the point of having it? You know, I think relationships is really, really important. And who you employ, your staff around you. I've got staff around me who I delegate to do good jobs, and I think that's the job of a manager now. You know, you do that because you're good at that. You do that, you're good at that. I'll oversee you, and you know, and you might be better than that than me, but I still am the manager. I've got to oversee it and see the results. Personalities is so important, and I think you'd be stupid manager to go one size fits all. Not a chance anymore. You know, you have to definitely compromise, and sometimes I have to do it with gritted teeth because I go back to 1989, 88 when I was at Blackburn Rovers, and it was a lot of one size fits all. It was a lot of but the game has changed so much and come on so much, and the social media, like we're saying, like this, the game is just global and it can be accessed anywhere now. It's great, but it's also it's very difficult to try and treat everyone the same.
You sound like that. You sound like you love the job, like you love being a manager. When you was coming to the end of your career, is it something that you always fancied doing, or was it something that you kind of fell into because you were still at Wycombe, but when obviously they were looking for a manager, and then it just kind of grew from there?
Yeah, I fell into it at QPR. I was the oldest player at QPR. I was the captain of QPR, but coming to the end of my career at QPR, and Luigi Di Canio came to take over as manager. No relation to Paolo, but he was an Italian, obviously. And he came in, and he was a coach, a very good coach, very free, off the cuff coach. But he couldn't speak great English, and I'm lucky. I met a Venezuelan girl a long time ago, and she's my partner with two great kids. Yeah, so we live here together. I learned Spanish early on. One of the old tricks of trying to impress her, because I thought I'll learn Spanish because I know she's Spanish. Anyway, it paid off 2 ways. It paid off that she's still with me, but it also paid off that I was able to translate some of his sessions, just pidgin English, really, to the boys. And he was the one who said, "Guys, take your badges. The lads respect you. You know what you're talking about. You're authoritative. And I thought, you know what? I never really fancied myself as a coach or a manager. I was one of these players, right? I don't know if you know, or if you can relate to this. We'd come in at half time sometimes. I'm in my mid-20s, and one of the lads would be said, "You've got to sort him out. They've got an extra man in midfield, or he's rolling inside." And I'm thinking, I'm not seeing that on the pitch at all. I just see my job, you know what I mean? And I'm like, what are you talking about? Are they not 4-4-2? Like, so it was like, so I didn't fancy myself because I thought tactically I'm not the one for that. But you learn, you do learn, and when you come out of the game, you study the game a bit more. I started looking at it, and especially in your older years, because your legs go a bit, you have to look at the tactical side of it a bit more. And so Luigi introduced me to it. I had a chaotic time at QPR under Flavio Briatore. I was caretaker manager twice, and it was a very, sporadic thing that he'd sack managers in. Darry was sacked. I then became caretaker. Paulo Sousa, fantastic manager, he got sacked. I became caretaker. So
I've seen that. Says you were caretaker 2008.
Yes.
So you was caretaker, and then did you drop back into them being a player?
Oh, I dropped back into playing. Said, I went to Flavio at the end of that season and said, I'm not ready for this. I thought it wasn't fair on the QPR fans. It wasn't fair on me so much. It wasn't fair on the players. I wasn't ready to be a manager. I didn't want to be a championship manager. I thought, and it was a big decision because I could have gone, you know what? I'll just try and wing this. But I didn't. I went back to being a player for 1 year, and halfway through that season, I wasn't in at QPR. They'd sacked a few more managers. Mick Harford was manager at the time. Wycombe came in for me. I was 37, and I thought, you know what? A 2-year contract at 37 in League Two. I'll go for it. They made me captain. We got promoted. We came down the next season, and then 8 games into that season, Gary Waddock, who's a close friend, still a close friend to me, he got sacked. And they said, right, Gareth's nearly 40. He's done a little bit at QPR. We'll give him the caretaker manager's job. And 8 years later, I'm still here. So
that experience at QPR, you can still bang that on your CV, can't you? QPR.
Can, even though you did some championship games. Yeah. So it was good. It was good. Great experience. Some good players. But do you know what, Jordan? I never really got my teeth into proper sessions, and I did 1 or 2 sessions really looking at the opposition. I was manager at Man United for Christ's sake against Alex Ferguson in the I think the 3rd round of the League Cup. So they beat us 1-0. Tevez penalty it was, only 1-0, and I had a drink with Alex Ferguson afterwards, and it was a great experience. But I wasn't ready, but what it did, it set me up for being ready at Wycombe, and even though the first 2 years at Wycombe were really tough, because I still wasn't ready. Don't think you can just manage. Don't think you can just change and just manage. And I did.
Right, Jordan. I was reading an article on The Athletic earlier when doing a bit of managerial research, as you do, with today's podcast coming up. And Andros Townsend has had 25 managers, club and country. 25 managers. Can you believe that?
It's a lot of gaffers, that, isn't it?
It is. Who's the best manager you've ever had?
I've only had like 5 or 6.
Surely Parky's up there.
Parky's up there, 100%. He's definitely in the top 1. I'm not saying who my best one is, but
He's up there.
Everyone's been different, and I've enjoyed everyone. So I don't know how 25 gaffers would go though.
Imagine 25. Well, if you want to read a bit more on Andros Townsend's story, including how Roy Keane told him he was useless when he was at Ipswich. That's not like Roy Keane. You can get a 7-day free trial on The Athletic, plus 50% off your yearly subscription. What's the link, Jordinho?
It is theathletic.co.uk/I had trials once. Get right on it.
And then that season, we almost went out of the Football League, and we stayed in by the skin of our teeth on that last day of the season. That
goal
was
difference,
still
wasn't it?
Yeah, goal difference, mate.
Did you fear for your job at any time?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, that season, we went 17 without a win. Now, you tell me a manager nowadays who'd go 17 games without a win and not get sacked. I don't think they had the cash. That I wasn't on a lot of money, but I still think they don't have the cash to go, let's sack the manager and get a new one. I think they were just, the trust had taken over. They were very wet behind the ears. It was probably great timing for me. Stayed up that season, and then that summer I went, right, guys, you can either bumble along again and you're bound to get sacked, or you better make big changes. So I properly became the manager I am today, and then signed players like Paul Hayes, Joe Jacobson that summer. Some Alfie Mawson came on loan, Aaron Pierre, some real good signings. Thankfully, they worked, and we made Wembley. We got to the playoff final that year, and that was it.
Do you think it was, when you made that change in the summer, was it was it a personal one where you think, right, I need to sign better players, or was it more, I'm going to sign better players, but I'm going to study the game a little bit more?
Yeah, everything, guys. I was a tracksuit manager for my first 18 months. Now I don't wear a suit, a shirt and trousers. I came in on that first game. Smart cash, whatever that means. So yeah, smart cash. I came in, and I've stayed there since. Now people say, "Oh, football, you should be in a tracksuit." I don't care. I had to make a change, and even a visual change was a little change. So something changed in me. Studying the game, I was always studying the game, but it was probably the signings. It probably was. I probably gave a few players a chance that were either my mates, or I'd think, he'll come good, and I made that rule. If you're not sure, it's a no. if you're not 100% sure, it's a no. So I had to be 100% sure. And since then, I've tried to be 100% sure on all my signings. I've still made mistakes, of course, in the 8 years, but I think on the majority, I've got them okay, you know.
You know, when you made that change from tracksuit to smart, did you walk in the change room and a few lads went, "Hey, up"?
Do you know what? I walked in. No, it was good because I'd made so many new signings. They didn't really know me as the tracksuit one anyway. So there was a couple of them still there. And do you know what? There's a guy called Matt Bloomfield who's been there years. You'll know Blooms. He's been there 17, 18 years now. And he was club captain. And I'll tell you another thing. They were calling me Gaz in that first 18 months. So I said, right, it's Gaffer. This is, and I felt a little bit awkward saying that because I'm thinking, oh, I'm the big arm here. It's the Gaffer, you know. But I had to make that change, and it just Matt Bloomfield went, right, Gaffer, quality, and he made it easy for me. So I can't thank him enough because he was the club captain. The rest of the players had to follow them. But that was tough. That was tough changes to make. And even I remember walking in that first game, Newport away it was, and we won it 2-0. But I walked in and I thought to myself, I made a conscious effort going, I'm in my shirt here, my shirt and trousers here. This is different, you know. So, and you almost sometimes have to be not an actor, but you have to sort of put a front on sometimes and be this person, you know. And I definitely was then, and now it's a lot more natural now. And it's not been many tracksuits since.
I definitely think throughout my career that the best managers that I've been associated with are always the ones that you respect, but you also kind of have that little bit of fear factor as well about them, where you know that the decision maker, they can be ruthless, but also as well that they want to help you and manage you. So it is a fine line between being Gaz, the mate and the manager, than being the shirt and tie smart and the decision maker. So I fully support that. Your gaffer's your gaffer. You shouldn't call him first name terms, whether he's just you know whether he was a teammate or not. And I always find that the best managers always have that little bit of like fear factor, and you probably saw a little bit of that when you met Alex Ferguson.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, there's got to be that respect. I think fear factor back in the day, and you both know what I'm talking about. Back in the day was the fear factor. They could blast you, they could scream and shout at you, call you every name under the sun, and now I think we've gone away from that a little bit, which is right, because sometimes it could verge on the bullying sort of thing. So I know that's got to be sorted out. The mental health's important. So I think now my fear factor now is based a lot on team selection, and I think the lads fear not playing, and that's the way it should be. I think that they know that I'll go, you're cut, but I'll always give them a chance. I'll give them a chance to prove themselves, and I'll tell them when I'm dropping someone why, and I think that's really important. But I agree totally with you. So my fear factor is that being in the team now is a huge thing, and I get players who care. I sign players who care, because the ones who don't care, they're not scared of being dropped because they don't care, So you've got to have people who care around you as well.
No, that's exactly right. I think the fear factor should be that if you drop your standards that I expect, you'll be out the team.
Yeah.
Good. What did I'll just go back to Alex there? What did he give you afterwards in the changing room? Because he's well known for his red wine, isn't he?
Yeah. No, we had a glass of red wine. Probably more expensive than I could have afforded at the time. So but I wouldn't know the difference to a good and a bad at that time. So I just downed it. But he was very complimentary. So same thing, same thing. You always, I'd say 99% of the times you always invite the opposition managers in. There's one or two that we probably don't, and some of them bowl in anyway. I'm not telling you.
I was going to ask you.
I'm not telling you that one because this is going out. But no, I think most of them. Do you know what? I'd say all of them. Honestly, my assistant sometimes goes, "Oh, yeah, I'm not having a drink with now afterwards." They've been horrible. They've been bantering us all. But I know it's a game. Sometimes I know on that touchline, that all the banter and they're having a go at you, they're having the ref, and they're trying to belittle you on the touchline. And I know it's a game, so I'm quite good with it. So on the whole,
do you have any big rivals?
Not rivals.
It can be a friendly rival, just a manager who you constantly come up against, and you think, like you can never get one over on him.
Well, Coventry at the moment, mate. Coventry's my team. I've played them 7 times in my managerial career, and I've lost all 7 games against Coventry. So I've not even drawn one. So 7 times we've lost. So Mark Robbins, who, by the way, is a top guy. He comes in the office. He actually, a great story. They beat us just after Christmas this season. They were the first team to beat us at home this season. We had a great home record. We were winning at home. We've still got a fantastic home record, but there's only 2 teams that have beat us, them and Fleetwood. And we do the press. You come off the pitch. You go into your team. You do the press. You do the debrief with your team. Then you come out, and then it's like you're in your office for 5 minutes, and then the press office is on there. We need to go and do the press. So you're out there, press, trying to get your emotions down because you don't want to say something you regret. Radio, newspapers, club press, and then you come back in, and hopefully you've got time for a drink with the opposition manager. He's doing exactly the same thing. So sometimes you miss. But I walked in just as Mark was walking out, and he went, we need to get off. And I went, and he went, but for you guys, I'll stay. And he came back for 10 minutes and made his bus wait for 10 minutes. The players must have been going mad, but he said like, I want to chat with you. He said, you're a top guy. And is there anything you want to look at? And I was like, what a great guy. We played against each other when we were younger, when we were playing, but he's a real good sort of persona about him. And I was talking about the way he plays a real good system, and the top of the league for a reason. Very, very good team, but there's not many. So every manager, they come in the office afterwards. We'll share a beer, a glass of wine, and have a little bit of a chat. Oops, sorry about that, guys.
Who would you say is your biggest influence as a manager?
Biggest influence. Wow. Do you know what? I think I inspire. It's not managers that I've had. You know that. So I'll look at Pochettino or Klopp, and I'll look at the relationships they have with their players. Remember when Klopp ran on the pitch and hugged his goalkeeper when they scored against? I think it was Everton, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, you can't do that. You're not allowed to do that. But his whole body just went, I've got to get on that pitch. I've got to go and do that. And it's like scoring a goal. Like something takes over you, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's like you run quicker than you've ever run on the pitch when you score a goal. It's like you're off, and it's like
don't ask Jordan. He doesn't score.
That was my next question. As a manager and like a former player, how does it compare? Maybe nerves in a game, pressure, and apparently that players only think on a game day, whereas a manager's just constantly thinking.
Yeah. The pressure. Do you know what? There's a lot more pressure jobs than this. There is, right? So people who turn around and say we've got pressure jobs. We have got pressure jobs. There is pressure in football management, without a doubt. But the money's decent. You're doing what you love. So yeah, there is pressure, but I don't want to oversell this when you've got people at the moment, especially working like they're working. That's pressure, keeping people alive and work. So I say there is pressure in football terms, and you're always thinking you're a couple of games away from the sack if you're getting beaten. That. So I mean, to handle that, I really got a good work-life balance. Really, really do. I think we've got. I make sure that I make time for the family, and my family's sort of my safety net. It's like whatever happens, I've got that. And I'm lucky enough. My career was okay to put us in a good, nice place, and we've got that. So that's my backstop. So I always look back to that and go, you know what? If the worst happened, where would you be? And I'd be in a good place. So first of all, that helps that back up a lot.
Yeah.
And dealing with the pressure sometimes, I think if you work hard enough and you know that you can look yourself in the mirror at the end of the day and go, you know what, I did what I could today. And even on the pitch sometimes when we're getting beat, I'll say, you know what, I got it wrong today, but I thought that was the right way to do it. I gave it all that way. I I didn't screw anyone over. I've been me. I've worked hard. I can accept what comes then, I can. But I think it'd be difficult to accept it if I knew that I'd cut a corner somewhere. I do, when I get my loan players from clubs, I make sure I try and do the clips with them every day. So, every week. So with the play on a Saturday, it takes me a good 40 minutes to download the clips, another 40 minutes to watch them on my own, and then another 40 minutes to watch them with them. So, I mean, there's a couple of hours just on one play, and we have like 4 or 5 loan players. Now, sometimes you've got loads on the press, the secretary wants me that what players had a problem, or planning the week. And you get to the end of the day thinking, God, I've still got to do them clips with that player. And it'd be easy for me to go, sun's shining, he's probably gone home, sneak out. But I know that night I would be like, I should have done that. I should have done them clips.
Yeah.
It's the right thing to do. And there'll be time to go and have a coffee in the sunshine. There'll be time to do these other things and make sure you do the right things. And then you're comfortable on that touchline. You can think, right, I'm here with confidence, because the lads feed off you. You need to be confident on that Saturday. And so really important. I do my work and I'm confident on that pitch on a Saturday. No matter what happens, I can deal with it.
So
thing is though,
Gaz, go on.
Sorry, Jordan. I was going to say, as soon as you as a manager cut corners, then that just filters down to the team, surely.
Totally. That's another thing, and that's a great point you've raised. I always think that the team on a Saturday mirrors me, the manager. It's me. It's 11 me's out there that they've all got their personalities, and they've all got skill, and a lot more skill than I had, because I was, I paced and that, and I got away with that. But the culture they embrace out there is me. So work ethic and honesty and humility. These are all core values that we have meetings in pre-season when we all go through our core values. And I'm proud of them, So, like you say, if I start cutting corners, if I start being Billy Big Time, if I start not respecting people, I'm not going to be surprised that sometimes my players don't, or they start arguing on the pitch, or they start thinking I'm the best. They definitely
Exactly,
mirror. Yeah, like you said earlier, some of your best managers, you had that fear factor, you respect them, so you would, you mirrored that on the pitch. I was out there. I'm not going to let him drop me. I'm not, that's so important. And I think that it's a real good point that, if I start cutting corners, if I start doing things wrong, my team are going to do the same thing. So that's what I'm really proud of at the moment. So yeah, sorry, Jordan. Yeah, you were saying.
No, it's 90 minutes, and you're 1-0 up. You're 1-0 up to win the league. Are you more nervous playing or managing?
Managing all day. Yeah, managing all day. Yeah, definitely. When you play, it's not a nice thing to do. But if you've had a good game and you got beat, there's a little bit of comfort inside you. That you've had a good game, and you'll be in the team next week. You had a good game.
Yeah, that's true.
Honestly, as a manager, it's so tough. I feel I could have had 10 with a good game, and one makes a crucial mistake at the end, and it's all back on me. And then the other lads are having a look at this guy, and I've got to pick that up. And it's great, because you still get that emotional buzz that you get as a player. That emotional buzz. We're lucky people, right? Because we get that playing in front of fans, running out on that pitch. It's the best thing in the world, right? You'll never replace that when you stop, but management is a close second, and you still get the highs and lows, although there's a lot more responsibility come with those highs and lows.
Yeah, 100%.
Brilliant.
Good answer.
Cheers.
Yeah, so obviously it's difficult to say, because obviously you've been at Wycombe a long time, and long may that continue. But same as a player, do you look to always try and manage at the highest level that you could possibly?
Yeah, definitely. It's been documented this season. I've had chance to move on. I've had a couple of opportunities. So again, it's got to be right, guys. It's not going to be something that I just go, right, get there as quick as I can, because I think you've got to have some real structure and plan about this. It's not about the money. It's not about the money at all. It wouldn't be. But there may be an opportunity one time that comes along that will be. I can't turn down, because the what it's going to give me and my family is outweighing what I get at Wycombe. But at the moment, I've had a couple of offers. I've had more than a couple over the 6 years, and some have been good financial offers. But I can't put a price on the loyalty I have at Wycombe from the fans and the culture I've built, and being happy as well. I've got 3 children that are very, very happy, and I think that's really important as well. Not to jump at the first thing. I've seen managers have 2 or 3 clubs and are now out of work since I've taken over at Wycombe. They've had this club, that club, and went to another club. Now they're out of work and they're thinking, God. And I'm thinking, I'm really happy, and that's. I'm not saying that a Premier League club comes in tomorrow and goes, "There's £5 million a year." There's decisions that you go, I have to take that, But
that's similar to Wycombe's budget, though, isn't it?
Over the 10 years I've been in charge, maybe something like but no, I'm saying there's it's not just football. It's definitely not money. And it's everything. Everything comes into it, and I'm really proud. Leaving Wycombe would be a massive wrench at the moment because what I've built, where we are, and how happy I am. It's as simple as that.
Brilliant. Well,
you seem pretty happy.
Very, very much. Yeah.
I do really hope that the season can continue for you, just to see where you could actually take this team this year. Because, like you said, if you did end up third with points, per game and stuff like that, it would be the highest position that they've ever finished in. And just imagine if you did end up in the playoffs and we had this kind of tournament and, Wycombe went up.
But, beyond our wildest dreams from where we were, at Torquay. I think actually somebody sent me a text. I think it was yesterday, 6 or 7 years to the day that we stayed up at Torquay. So to be in 6 or 7 years, to be where we are now on the cusp of really the Championship, the 5th biggest league in the world, is just, to think about Wycombe Wanderers being there, I'm so proud, But again, I couldn't have done it without everyone who's crossed my path since taking over, and that's fans included. And, it's been a real fantastic journey. Really, really has. And whatever they decide, we've had a great season so far this year. And like I say, the big thing is that, everyone's healthy to enjoy it going forward in the future, whatever happens this year.
Have you got, throughout your years, have you got a player who's probably your most influential signing, or one where he's just totally shocked you and you've gone, wow, I never thought he'd actually do so well? Yeah.
We go back right to that change when I made in that summer, and then so this is the player who shocked me. I signed a player called Alfie Mawson. Obviously, you've heard of Alfie now, but I signed him from Brentford's youth team. I think he was a first-year pro. He'd been on loan at Welling United. I rang Welling and said, look, I had my last pre-season game against Barnet on the Saturday. I lost 2 centre-halves, right, in that game. We didn't have a centre-half for that Newport game that I talked about earlier where we won 2-0, the first game of the season. We didn't have one. I mean, physio rang up and said, Gaffer, we ain't got, we're struggling for centre-half for Saturday. I think it was Gary Doherty, remember him? The old Tottenham. So he did his knee, and that ended up being a career-ending injury. And a guy called Danny Rowe, who went, I think, to I can't remember where he went. York, I think he went in the end. But
I would say he's not an Oldham, is he?
No, it's not the one. There's a few, there's a few. But so them two got injured. I had Aaron Pierre fit, but I had this massive gap at centre half, and for the life of me, I couldn't fill this. I signed Aaron Pierre, Joe Jacobson, and Cedar John Barty. All 3 were brand new. So we made all these calls on around centre halves here, centre halves there, and my assistant manager who'd come from Brentford, he rang Mark Warburton, who was the manager, and said, look, we're really struggling for a centre half here. Who have you got? And he went, all I've got is Alfie Mawson. So he turned to me and went, look, Alfie Mawson. He said, I've seen him play in the youth team. He's all right. And I went, right, let me make some calls. I rang Jamie Day at Welling. How'd he do? He said, yeah, he did all right. And I thought, do you know what? We've got nothing else. Let's get Alfie in. So we got Alfie in that Thursday. And he just slotted in, right? He got a clean sheet in his first game. And he went on to be unbelievable that season. And this kid who'd come in and he'd not been anywhere near Brentford's first team, but he was so accomplished on the ball. Everything we wanted our players to be, humble and caring, but loved the banter, loved all that. And he was just a humble, great guy. He came in, and honestly, by Christmas time, his loan was up in January. He was going to go back. He never did. I think we kept hold of him till the end of the season, and he played at Wembley and everything. But we made a deal in December with Brentford to sign him, and we'd agreed a price and everything, and we were on telly that week. Anyway, so we'd agreed this deal with Brentford, or semi-agreed it, and he was going to become our player. I knew I wanted him. And that week on telly, we were playing Luton Town on telly. Alfie scored the goal of the season from centre half. Like he flicked it over somebody's head. Paule's 1-2. He volleyed it in the top corner. That was it. Brentford went, "No, deal's off. Like, we're keeping him." So that was a killer for us. So
shouldn't have played him.
I know. Yeah,
Like
played the rest of the season. Played at Wembley. We got beat at Wembley, but Alfie ended up going to Barnsley. I think for a good couple of $100,000 after that, and then he went to Swansea for $5 million, Fulham for $20 million, and so he's the big success story that good players.
He might not have never have made it if he wanted to have been forced into that loan.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, maybe. But sometimes you do, you find your path, or sometimes you don't. But the great thing was he got in the England squad, guys, and he hasn't played yet for England, but he got in the England squad, and he was substitute against Brazil about 2 years ago. He's one of the subs, and one of the first person he rang was me and offered me 2 tickets to come and see him playing for England, which was like amazing, and players lounge and everything. So his mum and dad were there, and they said, "Oh, you first invite to his wedding." They're so thankful, which is great. But Alfie did it himself. He's a hell of a player, and he just needed that opportunity. And then your second point of the best player that so Alfie was the surprise, ended up being a hell of a player. But I think the best one, I think we're going to see more of him maybe next season in the Premier League. I've heard is a guy called Eberici Easy at QPR.
Yeah,
QPR, yeah.
The best talent I've ever coached. The best natural talent. Get some of these players and you think, how does he do that? He's got everything. He's got everything, and if I don't see him in the Premier League next season, I'll be amazed. I'll be more surprised to see him still at QPR in the Championship. But again, I gave him his league debut at Wycombe.
He's with Base, the company I work for.
Okay.
And we listened to his I suppose his life story, and it's amazing how many times he got released throughout his career. Unbelievable. And now he's 21, and like you said, probably the shining light of the Championship. But at 14, at 16, at 18, he got released every time from different clubs. I
don't know if it was Palace or Millwall. Definitely released him at one stage, and he ended up at QPR. And I signed a left back from QPR just as cover, a guy called Jack Williams. And Jack said to me, "Gaffy, you've got to come down and see this." He said he's unbelievable. So I went down and seen him in one game, Ebs, and he got a hat-trick, and I thought, I'm having him. So, again, gave him his debut at Wycombe. And so a lot of stuff. He needed to know how to work off the ball. Believe me, he needed to do his defensive share. But I made the correlation of the harder he would work, the better it would be for him, the more ball he'd see. And he sort of linked that up. And now he's, phenomenal at QPR. I'm so proud. And again, it's all him. But, lovely lad, church-going family, and real down to earth, like you say, guys. So sometimes the good guys do get a chance, and I'm hoping he does get a Premier League bow soon.
Yeah, no, me too.
Have you got a player who you've let go, and they've gone on to do something, and you thought, I messed up with that one?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, 1, 2. You can't get them all right. Definitely not. I think the big one that sticks out. On trial, I had once. I've forgotten his name now. He's Maguire at Preston, striker. Sean Maguire. He was at West Ham as a kid. Sean Maguire, and he came in for I think about 10-day trial at Wycombe. And do you know what? I didn't sign him. He just made. I think he scored 1 goal in that 10 games, but I didn't really see what I'm seeing now in him. And maybe he needed some more development, but he's turned out to be a hell of a player. And I always think there's one that got away, guys. You know, he's probably worth about £5 million now. So my chairman will be fuming when he sees this. But maybe more, 10 million. But no, he's a great lad and a real tenacious character, and a bit quiet. But he's definitely found his feet at Preston. I'm really pleased he's having a hell of a career. So yeah, you do miss some, definitely. So you try and get the majority right. You mess up as well, you know. And I still now and again get it wrong. But on the whole, the culture at my club sort of helps get people right in the mould that we need at Wycombe. And yeah, so we work well together.
Good, Gaz. Before we come to an end.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell us about your nickname and how that come about?
Wild Thing.
Yeah.
Oh, dear. I've seen this. What?
Yeah. Nah. Well, signed when I was younger.
Were you in a band?
No, I was in a band. I still am in a band. Yeah, music's big in my life. You know, it's another one of my work-life balance things.
The Handle.
Yeah, that was the first band I was in. Yeah, so I'm in a band called the Cold Blooded Hearts now. Cold Blooded Hearts. We released a single before Christmas, The Wanderer. Rock and roll. Go on, Joe. So.
What do you play, Gaz? What instrument?
So I'm a lead singer. Yeah. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So lead singer. Yeah. So.
Play guitar as well.
Tiny man. I won't profess to be a guitar player. That I can. No. There's one in the background here, but I mean I can't. I can't profess to being no Slash or anything like that. So, when I was at Wimbledon, right, I signed at Wimbledon, and it's probably the perfect club for me because at Lincoln City there was this group of players who were crazy, and we always had a laugh. Like I said, this energy feeding was so important. And then I went to Port Vale for a year in the Championship, which again, you know, I just used to like push it to the edge sometimes with things I'd do or banter and it was my personality, you know. So when I signed for Wimbledon, it was the crazy gang and all that. It was Premier League. It was fantastic to play in. But we got invited on a golf day, and I play golf much like I play football, right? 100 miles an hour. There's no control. There's no finesse. It was just like whacking, and my shots were so dangerous that I think it was Carl Lieber, Marcus Gale, and Robbie Earle all started singing Wild Thing songs. So they're all going, Wild Thing, like that to us was playing golf. And it sort of caught on. And everyone just then started calling me the Wild Thing, you know. So it was because of a golf day, but I think it was quite apt that, you know, the style I had and the hair and everything and the rock and roll. So got sort of known as that, and it stuck with me, you know. So every club I went to after that was we've signed the Wild Thing and all this lot, but it's getting a bit old now. It's more like the Mild Thing now. So them days have to an end.
Gav, where can we listen to the single then that you brought out?
Yeah, so it's been released. So I think it's Spotify or Amazon Music, whatever platform you use. I think
we'll get it on our Twitter.
Yeah, it's the Cold Blooded Hearts, and we released a song called The Wanderer. The American owners who came in recently, they wanted me. They were music people, and they knew I was in a band, so they said, right, let's get The Wanderer by Dion back in the 60s. The Wanderer, we covered it and we released it. So I can say I released the song. Didn't get anywhere really, but on Spotify, that'll do for me.
Tell you where you need to go though, Gaz.
Go on.
You need to get to New Orleans.
Oh yeah, nice place.
Unbelievable. You'd love it as well. It's all rock and roll, and it's just an unbelievable city.
The music scene's good, and they have Mardi Gras and everything, don't they?
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to the invite. I suppose I better get a few decent results before I earn an invite. But no, I love the States. I've been to LA a few times, proper music scene, and love all that sort of stuff. But no, I'll check it out on your recommendation, Mike.
Yeah, do it.
Well, Gaz, it's been an absolute pleasure having you in.
Yeah, man, I loved it.
I really hope that the season can continue, and you know, fingers crossed that Wycombe can maybe get in the playoffs or get promoted. You know, I think it'd be fantastic, and it'd be a great testament to your season that you've had. But from obviously us here on the podcast, mate. It's been brilliant having you on.
No, thanks, guys. You know, and to talk to two who know the game as well. You know, I've been there. And it's easy when you know. I can tell you what the feelings, and you can sort of empathise and recollect some when you've been out on the pitch. So keep it going, and absolute pleasure, guys, to join you.
No, mate,
my gaffer is going to be absolutely buzzing with this. I can tell already. He's a very clever guy, and he manages. Obviously, he wants to be as good as you, but he's going to love it. So yeah, nice one.
No, appreciate it, guys.
Cheers,
and good luck with everything. All right, cheers.
Top man, we'll let you go.
Take care. Take care, guys.
Mate. Stay safe.
Good to meet you both. Take care. Bye bye.
Stay safe.